That's how you
hi,
hear it.
Winter. We love you. Hi, you guys. Welcome to the Mother Daze podcast. You can hear us with our little mini co-host, Winter Olsen. Hi,
That's
girlfriend.
right. And she's Therese Palmer, and I'm Sarah Wright Olsen.
I am.
And and we're here, and we're doing this. So, and we have an amazing guest today, Courtney Adamo. She is here with us, and we are so excited. A fellow Aussie. She is a mother of 5 children. She just asked me before we got on if I had 4 kids now, and I was like, do I? Oh, yeah.
Wait, she's not Australian though.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not. I'm a fellow American.
That's what I was asking you.
I know. I was like, wait a second. When you said that,
I'm team American.
You're American, but you have an accent.
I know, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm 44, and I moved out of the US when I was 22, so I've lived half my life out of America. So I feel,
but it's also British sound. When I first hung out with you,
well, we lived in London for 12 years.
Yes,
and I also feel like maybe I put it on sometimes, but I don't know. I can't tell. But also, when you have young kids,
yes.
and they're learning to read in that language, and so you're
100%.
trying to talk to them in that language. So it's given me a very mixed.
It's a hybrid accent.
So scratch out the part where I said Aussie.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because I was like, I just assume you are Australian because, like, I know you as an Aussie. But she asked me before, she's like, she's Aussie, right? And I was like, yeah, she is, just very confidently. And then when she said, I was like, hang on a second, no, she's not Australian, even though she sounds Australian.
I was like,
we have an Australian passport, so sort of.
There we go. We'll take you. We would like to take you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. You're Australian. Okay. Maybe you weren't born there, but you're an Aussie and an American and maybe a Londoner. Okay. So she has 5 children. And she's a businesswoman, a blogger, an author. She has this amazing, gorgeous book that Teresa's going to hold up and show everyone. And she also has created, it's the family home. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right now.
Gorgeous. Most beautiful photos ever, by the way.
So stunning.
Entire book.
So
gorgeous.
Stunning. She has e-courses and e-books and a weekly newsletter with so much inspiration, so much community connection. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to talk to you both. This is quite fun.
It's fun because I went on Courtney's podcast.
Oh, so great.
And we'll be talking more about this on the show today. But Amy, who I'm seeing for lunch today, by the way.
Nice.
Yes, Amy and Courtney. I have followed both of you for many, many years, but you guys have started this podcast and we had a fantastic chat all about aging. And I left the conversation feeling so inspired and validated in my feelings. And it was so nice. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to tell people how I initially found you. Oh my gosh. And I haven't even told you this.
I don't think you have.
So I stumbled on Courtney's family so many years ago because I was building my manifest board. And there was this gorgeous photo of this family and you're standing. I think you and Michael were standing and then you've got all these beautiful kids and you I think you were pregnant with Wilkie. And there's this photo and like some of the kids are in a tree and then others are like standing. And I was like, look at this beautiful family. And a lot of your children are blonde too. So I was like, this is the perfect photo for my manifest board. There's this woman and she's pregnant and she's surrounded by all these children and they're all blonde and like, okay, I'll take this. So I took the photo and I put it in my manifest album, which I then printed out and like put on a board. And then a couple of years later, I had pulled another picture and it just so happened to be you. Your face was sort of hidden a bit. So it was more like a silhouette and these 2 little girls. And years later, I realized that it's you and your 2 daughters.
Hmm.
And I had your picture printed out on my little board that I had made years ago to call in a daughter and to call in sisters in particular. So I had maybe like 15 pictures and I put it all on a board and I put it inside this closet, which I was hoping would become the closet of my future daughter. And so I would always open this closet. My jeans were in there at the time, but I would see this like board of little sisters, little girls holding hands and stuff. And your picture and your girls were on that board. And then in 2019, I had my daughter and I kept the little picture up there. And it was just so beautiful to open it. And I had all my little girls' dresses on hangers and I had all her little onesies folded up. And I had been calling that in for so many years. And that is how I first found you and your family. And then I started following you when you and I were both pregnant at the same time. So you were pregnant with your 5th and I was pregnant with my 2nd. And our boys are the same age, Forrest and Wilkie. And yeah, I just followed along. I was so inspired and I was like, what a beautiful family. And they all seem so close. And you had boy, boy, girl, girl in that order. And then you finish with a boy. And now I have boy, boy, girl, girl. And I'm convinced this baby's a boy. And I was like, oh my God, did I totally manifest the exact same like shape as Courtney's family?
You would, okay? You really I'm not surprised that you manifested like being in the same town as her. Like if it's been in your house, like
I know.
That
crazy.
actually made me really emotional listening to you say that because I feel like those days of having those little people right next to me climbing trees and 2 little sisters, and it just feels like, I mean, it's so cliche, but it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah.
And I look sometimes at those photos and I'm like, oh, that was the best. It was really the best time. And
it is so true.
And I can't believe they're not like that anymore. We had our family photo taken and I've got that photo on my desktop and I just literally every time I open my computer, I look at it and I just sit there and stare at those children. And I'm like, how are they that big? I don't understand how that happened. They're like enormous adults.
Yeah. I know.
Especially
it's crazy.
My eldest 3, you know, and I like look at their like kneecaps and their hands and I'm like, how did that happen? I don't get it.
It's so and then I saw your son came back recently because he lives overseas, right?
Yeah. So he's at university in Hawaii.
Yeah. And I saw he came back and he had a girlfriend and I was like, oh my gosh, the seasons of life. Like it just suddenly, and I have a stepson who's 17 who just has had a girlfriend now. And I'm like, what? This is this little 4-year-old boy who used to sit on my lap and I used to snuggle and he was so shy and he was just, you know, like another
it's so
limb.
wild.
It's so wild.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's so funny because everyone can say it to you. And you know, my dad used to tell me that all the time. Every time he'd call, we'd be in London and he'd wake up and it would be like 4 p.m. my time, like, you know, cranky hour when you've got a bunch of little kids and you're trying to make dinner and, you know, you still have to feed them and all that. And he'd call and like the kids would be crying and he'd just say, this is the time of your life. And, you know, you can hear it 1,000 times. You can hear someone tell you that every single day. And when you're in it, it just feels like, it's so overwhelming and it's so hard. And how is this the time of my life? But it is.
It is.
You know?
It is. I sobbed crying the other day because this Instagram post, I know it was like targeted for me. It was like, you will respond to this. And it was this this older woman, I don't know who wrote it. She was like 85. And she talked about getting to experience one more day of the little hands and the mess and the mud and the way it was written. I ended up saving it and I was like full blown sobbing tears. and someone was reading out her voice.
Oh, yeah.
And that these are the, oh my gosh. And I was like, these are the days that you long for. And then I remembered like, oh yeah, that's what my Nana and I would talk about. Whenever I hung out with my Nana, she was in her 90s at the time, and she would just tell me these stories of these long days with her 8 children and frolicking in the park with her friends and the kids in the mud and the river and playing together and swinging off of trees and just having these long days. And it actually romanticized for me the idea of having a big family, because I grew up listening to these stories. And so I was like, I want that. I want what my Nana had. And now, even as you said, all 3 of us have a higher than average amount of children in our family. And I just would not have it any other way. People look at me like I'm an insane person. And I'm sure you've been met with that too. Like, what? You're having another one? Oh my gosh. Like, you're such a breeder. Why do you keep having more kids? But there's like such beauty in the chaos and the messiness and the loud house. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that notion with you, because I've been to your house and it's so beautiful. And the things that you show on Instagram, like that is what your actual house looks like. The jars and the organizing and the like homemade meals and the kids and everyone's such good friends. And I was at your birthday party recently, and like your son like dancing with your daughter and everyone just hanging out together, and your best friends like the Winchesters, and they're all dancing and singing, and the kids are having this idyllic childhood. And then also you talk about the fact that you don't have a bedroom for every single kid, and the way you curate your house is so beautiful. And I wanted to talk more about that. So give us a little insight into your life and how your family runs, and just like this joy-filled life that you guys have.
Well, it's so nice of you to say that, first of all. And it's obviously not always joyful. Like this morning I was shouting at the kids because the laundry basket had been completely dumped, clothes spread all over the laundry room, and no one wanted to claim who had done it. And, and I mean, it's like so many times where I'm like, this is an absolute shit show here, But I do think that we are very close as a family. We live in a small house. Like you've been here, it's a really small home for a family of 7. And I really love it. I wouldn't want to live in a bigger home. Our kids have always shared bedrooms, even when we lived in London and had more bedrooms and more space. They just like sharing rooms. And I think that at least it works within our family and our kids. And we've done like all sorts of different combinations. Like the 2 eldest boys shared a room their entire life until the eldest one was 16. And then the next boy shared a room with the girl below him. So girl-boy dynamic. They shared a room for ages, and people would say teenage boy and girl sharing a room, but like they loved it. They had a record player in there, and they had all their records, and like they designed their room, and like they just loved it. And now I've got like my 2 youngest, a boy and a girl, 8 and 12, and they share a bunk room. And I mean, that's just like a necessity for us because our house is so small. But I think in some ways, like our biggest priority is that closeness as a family. Like it's just something we really prioritize and value. And we have rituals in place that kind of bring that closeness to, give opportunities for that closeness. We have like family dinner every single night. And the kids, like Ivy went for a walk the other day in the evening. I think she wanted to go spy on her boyfriend who was playing rugby down at the Oval. And she came home too late for dinner, and we all sat there and had dinner. And that was like the first time that's actually ever happened. And she knew how upset we were when she got home, because she walked in and dinner was finished and she was like, I'm so sorry. But, it's like something that we really do as a family. And, like, obviously there's evenings where we have to like make scrambled eggs for kids and whatever, like they eat it at the kitchen island, you know, like it's not like every night that has to happen, but almost every night we do. We sit as a family and we have dinner together. So, and that's like sometimes, you know, when you, especially when you have older kids and teenagers, sometimes that's the only time of the day that you actually like check in. You know, you see their eyeballs because they're so busy and they've got this life of their own. And especially once they start driving and, you know, Quinn's studying for his HSC. So he comes home from school, goes to study with his friends, and like they've got after school jobs. And, you know, dinner time is so important. Like that is sometimes the only time of the day that we're all there. And we eat and then we still sit at the table even when we're finished and we talk until we're like, we've decided collectively that we're finished, you know, like it's a thing for us. So I just think like there's been priorities. And, you know, also like we lived in London for 12 years and, you know, obviously we had a wonderful life there and we loved London and loved the international city and how much culture there is there. And it was buzzing, but we were really busy and we ended up having to have a nanny watch our kids 3 days a week. And I remember kind of having a minute of being like, I've got a nanny picking my kids up from school and I'm working really hard to be able to afford that nanny, to be able to send my kids to this school. My husband's working really hard. And like, I was like, what are we doing? Because actually, I just really want to be with my kids. And Michael wanted to spend more time with the kids too. And so we made the decision to sell everything in London and move somewhere that would be less expensive and where we could spend more time with our kids. So that was a huge thing, like a big decision that we made that with the intention of spending more time as a family. So, and no, I mean, not everyone can just do that. I don't want to just say like, oh, it's so easy. Just like, you know, uproot your life and move somewhere slower. But I think there's a lot of people that I think would like it, but think it'd be really hard. But actually, it's not as hard as you think, you know?
Wow. What did those days look like? Like after, was there ever a moment you were like, what have we done?
Actually, no, there wasn't. We sold our house. It was a big deal to take the kids out of the school because they were in this really beautiful school that was really hard to get into. And everyone was like, you're crazy to take them out of this school. And Michael quit his job, which was, again, so crazy. He had this really cool studio and he had this really cool production company in Soho in London. And so that was a big deal for him. And I think he had more of like a harder time with it. But we sold everything. We went and traveled for what ended up being 18 months. And then on our travels, we spent 6 weeks in Bangalore. And that's how we were like, we love this place. It's amazing. It will give us that slower life, more connection to nature, more time with our kids. And so we just moved here. But it sounds easier than it was. Like, obviously, we had to go through the whole visa process and all of that, which was so, like, I think Australia is like the hardest country to emigrate to out of any country. So.
I have a lot of my American girlfriends on this text thread who are all like, we're trying to move to Australia. And I was like, good luck. It's very hard.
Yeah.
So inspiring though that you guys like did it and that it turned out to be exactly what you wanted. And that's so incredible that you do the dinners every single night. Like I remember that from childhood, that was the one common thread for us in our, you know, busy lives. And we lived in the country, but like we always had dinner together. You know, my mom worked a full-time job, but dinner together was like, you know, it was important and it was amazing. And I remember it to this day. But I wanted to ask you about your age spread because your youngest and your oldest are the same age difference than Ocean and Wyatt, my two youngest and oldest. And so I'd love to hear like how are those dynamics and that relationship when you have a spread like that?
it works for us. Like our eldest and our youngest actually have a really cute relationship. And actually, when Easton went away to university, Wilkie was the one that I kept looking at. Like, it broke my heart. Like, I was sad because I was missing my baby, but I would look at him and he would like ask me questions like, was Easton going to be back for my, book week presentation at school? And I'd be like, no. And like, he would ask these like really sweet, like naive questions about like when he would come back or would he be here for this? And it kind of made me realize like it wasn't his going away wasn't just impacting me and Michael, it was like, it's like it was impacting everyone. And it was really kind of a real transition in our house when he left, because what you take one out of that dynamic and everything shifts.
Yeah.
Like our second one, who's like really introverted. So our eldest is like, I'm here. He's super social. You know what he's thinking. And he says everything and he wants to talk about everything. And he takes up a lot of space in a room.
Yeah.
And the second one, I think because of that, maybe doesn't take up as much space. Like he's just kind of learned to just like be a smaller presence. And he's very observant. And well, Easton left, and then Quinn is suddenly Mr. Talkative at the dinner table. And it was so beautiful to see that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not answering your question very well. The age, like there's definitely, our family's very close. It doesn't matter.
You are. You're answering it very well.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah.
I can see on Sarah's face, this is like making her excited.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because my brother and I are 4 years apart. My brother did say the most traumatic thing to happen in his childhood is when I left home.
Yeah.
He's 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I literally, the first time I heard him say that, it stopped me dead in my tracks. And I was like, what? And I was like, are you serious? Like, but cell phones weren't really a thing back then. And like, so like our connection to each other, like sort of went away a little bit. It wasn't like I could keep in much contact with him, but he was like devastated. And I had no idea. But like, that's because we were so close. And that's a beautiful thing. We were able to get closer in adulthood too. So anyway, yes, you're answering very well.
I always think it's so interesting. Like even when the kids go away for school camp for a week, like even if it's like one of the quieter in our family, it still makes such a massive difference. Like you feel that void. It's so weird. And the different dynamic between the kids, like everything shifts. And I'm always so surprised by how, like, just the one going away does that.
Yes.
I love having days. Like I had a day last week where I just had Forrest, who is my second child, and Prairie, who is my fourth child. I just had the two of them. I took the two of them out. And even just like a day of seeing their interactions and them playing together and where you pull out the other members of the family, I was like, oh my God, this is the cutest. Like hearing that, like the way that they speak with each other and how he nurtures her and she really looks up to him. And I was like, I love the shifting combos of children. And if, in large families, everyone's like, how do you give enough time to each child? When you can figure it out to like pull them out individually and do different pairings and it's such a gift. I grew up without siblings. So that is like a wound for me. And I feel like it's such a balm to like see these siblings and see these relationships. Like what a gift and a healing one for me as well.
I actually get asked that question all the time. Like, how do you give enough time to your 5 kids, like individually? And it's funny because you said you weren't raised with siblings, and I actually was. I come from a family I'm the eldest of 5, so I come from a big family myself. And I never remember wishing I had more of my parents' time. It was like, and I don't think any of my siblings would say that they did either, because we had each other. We were always like, I'm just so grateful I have my siblings that it.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of at least the thing I tell myself all the time, because obviously, like, I am not giving each of my kids like one-on-one quality time all the time. That's impossible. But I try to think like the value that they're getting from their siblings, that does like make it better.
I so believe that. And as someone who did have my parents one-on-one, it's still a wound for me. Like, it's still the fact that I don't have anyone that will carry with me I've still got a lot more life left than hopefully, touch wood, than my parents. Like, I get to keep my parents for hopefully 10, 20 more years if I'm lucky. And then I'm alone in that as they're getting older, and just like the grief of losing parents. Like, I've got no one to share that with.
Yeah.
And I know that like the gift of having siblings is that this built-in dynamic, like for the rest of their lives. I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they will, like, my sons will forever have each other. My girls will forever have each other. The girls will have the boys have. I just think it is the greatest gift. And not everyone obviously can have more than one child. But in my situation, I actually think I've had so many as a result of not having any siblings. I wanted the opposite experience. Yeah.
I also think that, like, when you've got lots of kids, obviously you can't give them that one-on-one time. Like, and actually, I don't even really try to carve it out. I just feel like what I do is really try to be intentional if I have a moment with them. So even if it's in a moment in the car, or if, like, Ivy still comes to me and asks me to French braid her hair in the morning sometimes. And that's just like 10 minutes where I'm touching her and I can check in with her. And it's just tiny little intentional moments, I think, that when you've got a big family, that you have to try to just be thoughtful of, to like have that connection with them.
I would love to hear more about your book. Obviously, I've read the majority of this because I ended up writing a little snippet.
You did.
For you, because it was
Thank you.
I was so moved by it. It's so like intentional and beautiful, and it's just like a warm hug. It makes me want to be the very best version of myself that I can be as a mother and as a partner, and just, one of the leaders of this family. There were like very practical tips as well. There were things like curating an arts and crafts area, which I have gone to the gram and to Pinterest so many times to try and figure out, like, toy storage and where am I putting all these pencils? They end up everywhere. And, your suggestions are just practical. And I'm a person who, and this is a learned skill because I was not this way until probably maybe even just 10 years ago. I was very messy. I grew up very messy. Everything was messy, a bit chaotic. I really crave order. And I think it's something about, if my space feels ordered, my mind feels ordered, and I'm better able to tick off the never-ending list of to-do, which all of us have, but mine feels so mile long. But if my space is really messy and I don't have things curated in a way, it just feels dysfunctional, and I'm not creatively inspired. Can you talk about your way with this? Where the idea of the book came from, and also writing with your husband, because that's so unique.
Yeah, well, writing with Michael was really fun, actually. We did a lot of brainstorming together and like what ideas to share. And then I wrote a lot of the first draft. And then I always joke that Michael's like my chat GPT, because I'll write it and then he goes in and makes me sound better. So that was the dynamic with the book. He does the like beautiful writing, and I kind of put a lot of like thoughts onto the paper. And anyway,
Yes.
the book, yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that you grew up not naturally a very organized and tidy person, because I actually did. So I'm always curious, like, if it's just because this is my natural way, that when things are not orderly and not tidy, that it really unnerves me. Like, it really rattles me when my home is not tidy.
Yes.
I'm always curious whether that's just me, because I've always been like this, or if that's just like everyone. Because I would assume that, like, surely a really messy space is like that physical clutter manifests in an emotional way too.
Yes.
Or it could just be me, but
I feel like that.
Yeah, like I think like I didn't want to write a book that's like, you have to have a tidy house and, you do this and this. That's not the point. But I do think that there are, like, in terms of, like, we wrote a practical chapter on like how to get organized and stay organized. And I just think that there's some like daily habits that you can implement that can help you just stay on track a little bit more. Like, and also it comes to how your home is set up. Like, how do you enter and leave your house every day? And what does that space look like? In our house, we don't even have an entranceway. Like, the kids come straight off the back deck into our dining room. And so if we don't have hooks and baskets there, the kids just dump everything onto the dining table.
Yeah, the dumping ground.
It's the dumping ground. And I can't stand that, right? So it's like, how, and the mail will get put there. So I was like, okay, we need to have a cupboard where the mail goes. And like, there needs to be a system where this is mail that's been read and this is mail that hasn't been read. And like, when the kids' stuff comes home from school, where does that go? And like, there need to be hooks, and the hooks need to be at the right height for the kids so that they can actually hang their coats and backpacks up, because if not, they're not going to use those hooks. And so it was just being kind of thoughtful about that space, and then actually hanging it up. Like, it's funny because like I have everything in place, but like, obviously not everyone always listens. And Michael, the first one to stick everything on the dining table. And I'm always like, no!
Yeah. I'm like that with my car. I'm like, you guys, when I pick you up from school and you have the drink bottle and the jacket and the artwork,
I get it
and the
out
thing,
of the car. Yeah.
As soon as we land, everything is coming out of the car. And then you need to bring your lunch boxes over to the sink. You got to get rid of your, exactly. Like, I'm so specific.
That's another thing for us. We implemented a rule years ago that if you hadn't done your lunchbox by the time it was dinner time, you were doing dishes. So we have a dinner dishes rota where they all take turns. But if you haven't done your lunchbox, you actually do dishes. It doesn't matter whose turn it is. And so that literally was the thing we needed to do, because they now all come straight in, wash their lunchbox, put it on the drying rack, and that sorted that problem.
That is so, I need to get the washing, and they need to do the washing of the lunchbox as well. They don't do that. They just dump any scraps. But I also go and like look in the bin to be like, what didn't they eat today? What didn't that, why are the cherries in here? I don't understand. Like, it was like, one of them was a little bit soggy, so I didn't eat the whole
how
lot.
is it? They're so funny with their lunchbox stuff. I know.
I love this. And so some of that stuff you folded into the book as well, like just those tips.
So we wanted the book to feel like, first of all, we also didn't want it to feel like so inspirational that it's like not achievable. So we featured 24 different homes from 3 different countries. We went to the US and the UK and here. And we chose homes that really just feel like, well, all sorts of different types of homes. But I think the string that threads them all together is that like, they're all very thoughtful. So, and they're not like, some of them were created on a bigger budget, but not all of them are. And we just kind of wanted it to feel like real, like achievable. And so there's there's beautiful spaces in there that are inspiring, but I think we also wanted to just give like the practical tips too. So for each chapter, we wanted there to be like actually like things you can do, and and we wrote the book in a way that's like we didn't want to feature like one house after the other house or like one room after the other room. We kind of chose these bigger themes like how can your home help you spend more time together, which is like kind of something that's top of our mind, especially with teenagers. Like, how can you get them out of their bedrooms? How can you encourage them into the sofa to sit with you?
And I know you have a really good way. Can you share that way with us? How to, about the communal space?
We just have like in our kitchen, we have stools at the island. And so they'll come and they'll sit there. And like, our sofa is not the most stylish sofa, but it's big enough for all of our kids.
And you have one TV.
We don't even have a TV.
You don't have a TV.
I do in the book. We do say if you like have one TV that you can all sit around and watch.
I love that
all together. And then, like years ago, our eldest was like, "I can't stand the sofa. These cushions are so scratchy." And I had these like cool Moroccan like cushions on our sofa. And I was like, "Oh, is that the reason you never sit there?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we got rid of the like cool stylish Moroccan cushions and just put on like really basic like linen.
Yes.
And they started to hang out on the sofa more. So it's like little tiny things that actually you can do to just get your kids to like hang out all together. Again, like the dining table, like make it be big enough that you all fit there and like have the chairs be comfortable enough that you can stay there and sit there long enough. And and so like the book went through chapters like how to do that, how to encourage independence in your children. That's another big thing for us. Like how can your home be set up in ways that you're encouraging your kids to hang up their clothes and get themselves dressed and make their own bed, those kind of things. And so we kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit like an interiors book, but it's also kind of like a family parenting manifesto-ish. Like it's not a parent.
It feels like a blend.
It is a blend, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I went through and I was just taking like mental note of different things because we are about to embark on building here in Byron.
That's so exciting.
In Ewingstale, which will be exciting.
Well, how exciting.
And I was like, I'm going to have to consult Courtney because these ideas, like for me, these ideas are so fantastic. And actually they're kind of simple fixes that maybe you just wouldn't think about. So it's not like these are going to cost you a lot of money. It's just like intentional things that you can fold into the design of your house to bring about more harmony. And one of the ideas I got from you was, and I saw this in another house recently that I looked at, was so we do have a big house and Mark and I grew up in little housing trust unit homes where we like were on top of our parents and so both of us were like, we want space. We want a big spacious house. So we have the house in America and the house that we're renting here are big homes. Every kid has their own space, their own, they've got their own area for their toys and whatever. But a lot of the time, my kids want to sleep in the same bed as each other. Like we'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, Forrest is missing from the bed. And then Mark's like, well, he's probably downstairs in Bodhi's room. We'll go find him in Bodhi's room. And then the girls sleep together religiously every night. And then sometimes it's like Forrest and Prairie will pair up and Bodhi will be like, can Poet have a sleepover in my bed tonight? And it's just so beautiful. And it actually made me think about, what you talked about, how your kids share rooms. And so in our build, a part of our design is we have a door which slides open. Yeah. And so when they get older, if they want to have privacy or they've got friends over and the door can be locked, but otherwise it slides right open. So it can be a big room with two
so
different
smart.
beds. Yeah, so we've just designed
that would be something I would do if I was building a house as well. That I love that idea. I have a friend who did it as well, and it's so smart.
Yeah, that was the thing they were most excited about when I showed them the design. They were like, look, Bodhi was like, look, Forrest, we can open it up and we can be in the same room, or we can close it up when our friends are over and we want privacy.
Yeah, so
and I was
good.
like, oh my gosh, just a simple thing like having a wall in between the two bedrooms, which can be an open space if they want.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then it made me think, oh, wow, maybe you should do consulting. Like, have you ever thought about taking these ideas?
Yeah. I mean, we've renovated homes and we built a house down the coast,
So
a little beach house. And I really love it. I love that process. I love the creative, just like the journey of it and making decisions and all of that. I find it so fun, but I also, love consulting other people. Like I've done a few things for friends when they've been renovating, and kitchens. I always really love kitchens. I find that such a fun thing to help design. But yeah,
your home that you built is stunning. People can go on Instagram and look at it. Also, you rent it out too.
Yeah, we do. We rent it on Airbnb. That's kind of how we can afford to have it. It helps to pay the mortgage. So
that's like our LA house.
You have to go hang out down. You guys should go and stay. It's a really beautiful little spot.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And I actually followed the build. You posted about it like as you were designing and building it.
Yeah.
And then you offered up, was it a course that you did for it?
We did, yeah. A couple of years ago, we did a Renovation Ready, it was called.
Yes, that's right.
And it was a course on building or renovating, and because there's such a steep learning curve. Like there's so many things. I mean, we'd renovated 3 homes before, but building a home from scratch was a whole different ball game. And actually, we made so many mistakes again, even though you'd think we would have learned. I mean, there's just so much to learn and do, and it's all it
can be overwhelming.
It can be, yeah.
And I really encourage people to go on your Instagram. In fact, can you just tell people what your Instagram handle is so people can follow you?
It's just my full name. So it's Courtney Adamo is my Instagram.
Yeah. Well, you posted something, was it 6 months ago? Maybe around 6 months ago. It was a video. And you were talking about aging.
Oh, yeah.
And you talked about this new wrinkle that you had, that your friend pointed out.
Like a new little crease right here that I started to find when I was looking at myself in the mirror. And I was like, oh, what is that?
Like, oh, I see this. This is a freshie. I've got a bunch of, especially in this pregnancy, actually. You think because your face fills out and you like put on more weight when you're pregnant. But I'm like, oh, wow, that's new. Oh, that is also new. But you so beautifully broke down this relationship, and you focused in on this one new little wrinkle that you found. And you were so just like open and beautiful about it. And here it is. And guys, look at this. And this is how I feel about it. And, why do we judge ourselves? And,
I think it's funny because it's like, my first response to that wrinkle was to be like bummed out about it, to really like kind of be like, oh, bummer, I'm getting like wrinkles. But then I was like, but why do I feel that way? Like I'm getting older. Like that's like natural. We're all getting older and our faces are not going to look like perfectly youthful for the rest of our lives. And so I was like, why do I actually feel bummed out about that wrinkle? Like it's a part of my face, and how and such a sign of the growing up I've done, like actually it's really beautiful. And I just said to myself, what if you just looked at that and was like, oh my gosh, look at this beautiful wrinkle I have here. Like, how beautiful is that? And it's like changing the narrative, just like literally changing what you think about it. It's flipping it. It's like looking in the mirror and being like, oh, look at these wrinkles I have here, like from all these years of smiling and being in the sunshine and being happy with your children. And like, I just think that you can kind of try to see it that way. It's really hard. Like, we live in a world that wants women to feel like we've got to completely always look perfect and young and youthful. And like, you know, there's all this sort of pressure on us. And it's not easy to kind of believe that narrative, but I think you have to try. Like, it has to come from you. It has to come from like inside to be able to think like, oh no, like, I like that about myself. But what I look like is not the most important thing about me. That isn't. Like, how I make people feel really matters more to me than what people think I look like. And I think about it a lot. Like, if I were to fix the wrinkles or do something to my face, I feel like it says something to other people around me that they have to do the same. And I don't want anyone ever to feel that way. And I have children who I want them to like know and believe that they are beautiful without ever having to do anything to themselves. And so it's such a thing for me. Like, I just am like, I want to be the person that makes people feel they can be exactly who they are around me.
Oh, that's so refreshing. And I love having someone in my orbit who feels similar to me. It's so nice when your community and your friends and everyone is on the same page with this stuff. My son recently said to me, Mum, you would never like touch your face or do anything, right, to like look younger. And I was like, oh, well, that's a really good question. No, definitely not at this stage. And I don't think that's for me, bud. But a lot of people do make those decisions, and that's okay. You know, whatever suits everyone. And he was like, I just want you to look like you, and you're so beautiful the way you are. You look like my mom, and like you're so beautiful. And I was like, Bodhi, that's so like beautiful to share those feelings, but also he like checked in with me. And I think it's because he's overheard recently, you know, and it's hard when you're in the public eye and your face is on a screen, like blown up on a screen, and you can see all the imperfections. And then you're also opening yourself up for other people to have commentary on that. And I know you understand because you also have an audience. And there have been wobbly moments for me in the past where I've been like, whoa, I look really tired on screen. And my character's not really meant to be so tired, or my character looks really concerned, and I meant this is a joyful moment. So I've had those moments of insecurity and just judgment, self-judgment. And you know, recently a couple of people commented on like, wow, she's getting so old on my Instagram. And I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, water off a duck's back. Like, I am getting old.
You're supposed to get, like, you are getting older.
And what's the alternative? Like, death? Like, I'm like happy I'm growing older.
That's what you're meant to do.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, it's a great privilege to grow older and to have this map of my life experiences on my face, and also to be someone in the film industry that is representing a real aging face. I have a bunch of kids.
So beautiful.
I'm almost 40. And so I'm really trying to stay in that positive mindset surrounding it. And I have to say that it's really helpful when I find other women who are of a similar age and similar life experiences, having big families, and, you know, the busyness that brings in your life, and the richness and all those things. But it is it's a lot having lots of kids and running around and doing all the things. And I'm sure my physical self, I am sure it's taken a toll on me. But when I read your caption and listened to your video, it was really deeply impactful. I think I needed it at that time because something had come out and I was like, oh God, here we go. I don't even know if I can watch this. And it was a little confronting for me. So I want to say thank you because
that's nice of you.
It is impactful. And you have many, many people who follow along with your beautiful life and your journey. I love that you share the vulnerabilities as well. And it's important. And that's the beautiful thing about social media. There are lots of negative things about social media, but there are so many beautiful things. And I wanted to share that.
Thank you. I shared yesterday, just like in stories, that I was just having a day. Like I just yesterday felt like I was fighting back tears all day long. Like I just was really emotional. I felt overwhelmed. I feel like there's a lot on my plate right now. And sometimes I can have a lot on my plate and be like, yep, good, gonna tick it all off.
Yeah.
Here I go. And yesterday I was like, this is overwhelming. This is hard. Like it just felt harder. And Michael was like annoying me so badly. Like everything he said and everything he did or didn't do was just frustrating me. And I felt like it was like personal. And I just like had one of these days where like I just was wanting to cry and like move to somewhere far away by myself.
Yes. Wow, we had a very similar day yesterday.
Okay. Well, this is what my whole point in sharing this was that I just said something like that on my story. And I had so many women say, oh my God, me too. You know, oh my gosh, I feel this way. Or like, and it's like, let's just normalize that. Like, like life is hard sometimes. And some days just feel harder than others. And sometimes like you can really love your husband and feel really connected to him and really into him. And sometimes he can annoy the shit out of you, you know? Like,
yeah, I always laugh about my divorce fantasies in my head. I'm like, those days when they annoy you so much and you're like, well, I'm just going to move to the Caribbean and this is what I'm going to do. You know, you have these
fantasizing about the house I was going to have in Greece overlooking the Med by myself.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so relatable though. I really had a day like that. It's great. And I love that. The power of sharing the peaks and the valleys of life, because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And it's, it's one of the reasons like I came to you, because when I found your page, it was like, in the sort of manifesting law of attraction world, they say expanders, right? People living a life that you're like, oh, that's expansive. And I want that sort of experience in my life. So you were sort of like an expander. And I was like, that's what I want. All those kids, that sort of closeness, that connection. But then I stayed for the realness that's like, there's just such a like vulnerability that you've really like peppered into your page, and it feels amazing. Like you can have a beautiful book like this, The Family Home, and it's just so inspiring. And then in the next second you're talking about like your wrinkles and your bad days and like the dysfunction, and I really appreciate that. I think it's really important.
Thank you. I feel like even in the book, we try to do that a little, like we try to say and acknowledge that like having kids is hard, whether you have one kid or you have 5 kids, it's hard. And like, especially having little kids, like that is really hard. And I hope that we come across like that like it, like we're acknowledging the realness of it. And like, while we share tips and stuff, it's like, we know that like there's real chaos too.
Yes.
And also, like, we share a lot of the things we've learned, like the things we've done that we learned to stop doing or to do differently. And we share some like personal stories in there about how we kind of learned to tweak what we were doing to suit, our life better. And so I think, I hope that the book comes across
it
like
does. And that's what I meant by like a warm hug. Like it feels like a warm hug. And this is going to be my Bible as I dive into curating my new home and building all the spaces. And you're going to be getting phone calls from me like, where do I put this? What do I do? What size hooks do I get? What kind of baskets?
Please call me. I would love to help you. Please. It's so fun. So exciting for you to have this project.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You are so inspiring and real, and I love it. And I love meeting other mums with so many children. And I'm so happy for you. This book, The Family Home, can you share with everyone where they can get it?
You can get it anywhere that you buy your book. So, you can buy it online from the big bookstores like Amazon or Booktopia. You can order, ask for a copy in your local bookstore. And if they don't have one in, they can order one in. You can also order one from my website and I will sign it and send it to you. So my website is CourtneyAdamo.com. We've got 1,000 copies to sell, and we're signing them and sending them. So,
a little personal
you can
touch.
order one from me,
and then your Substack as well.
Yeah, and then I'm on Substack sharing lots of home related stuff and motherhood related stuff, and also a lot of like. More photos from the shoots for the book. So sharing more than actually what made it into the book, which is kind of fun. So I'm at CourtneyAdamo.substack.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are so happy to have you. Thank you for all of your beautiful insights. You're so inspiring to us.
Guys, you have been listening to the Mother Daze podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Daisies. Bye.
Bye.